So welcome to everybody. This is the Jared Johnson / Day Traders FX Monday webinar, and this is just kind of my outlook for the week. What I'm going to be watching, what I'm going to be trading. I'm posting charts like crazy in the chat every day. We're calling trades, we're finding entries. Last week was interesting and choppy, and there was wild movements, and there was fun stuff and crazy stuff, and it was just craziness. And hopefully we'll get some more craziness this week, but craziness in a good way. For anybody that would like to jump in and join us and see how we do this whole thing, you can get a free trial at that website link that I just posted in the chat right there. That is daytradersfx.com/join. We'd love to have you. So it'll take you about 26 to 27 seconds to set up a free trial. And you can do that right there. So give it a shot. Give it a shot. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Let's have a little look. This week, I know probably. Is the audio coming in bad for a few people? I have my fan blowing at me, and I wonder if that is causing problems. Okay, is that any better? Okay, so all right. Okay, so you never know which end it's coming in bad on. My end sometimes the other. So hopefully it'll clear up just a little bit. Okay, as far as this week goes, we have it's kind of an interesting week. We have some pretty good news announcements, and then we have a big holiday week coming up, weekend. It's Easter this coming weekend, right? Is that, hey Carolyn, nice to see you. I think we have Easter. Is that why we have all this bank holiday stuff this weekend? Is that because of Easter, Good Friday, all that good stuff? Okay, all right, good. I can never keep track of what's coming and when and so on. So anyways, there's a lot of bank holidays towards the end of the week. You can see Australia and New Zealand and Switzerland, and then it creeps on into Europe and the UK and so on, and it really kind of slows down towards the end of the week. But this just happens to be, and I guess the US we're just a bunch of pagans over here, and we're having non-farm payroll on Friday. So I'm going to have a live event. There will probably be 3 of us that show up because everyone else is going to be on some sort of holiday for the weekend. But if you are around, I will send out the link, and I'm going to make it public for everybody because usually I do just a big public non-farm payroll event for everyone that's interested in attending. So I'm going to do that this Friday, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys all here. Hopefully it'll be a pretty good mover. So that's coming up. We've got some other good news announcements throughout the week, so we should have plenty of activity coming into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then things might quiet down a little bit, last part of Thursday going into Friday. But should be a good week of news. We have good stuff. Okay, so I may, I'm thinking what I'm going to do here, but that's right, Kevin. No rest for the weary. I am going to go through a bunch of charts and talk about some stuff that I think is awesome. I think I'm going to start doing the Monday webinars because I've been posting and sending out. I'm kind of in and out with TradingView. I love TradingView, and I use them all the time. And sometimes I post more charts, and sometimes I post less. And I think I might just start just posting the TradingView charts. I'm gonna send out all the charts that we talk about on TradingView today, and I'll just kind of have everything marked up and ready to go there. And we did that all this last week and a little bit the week before, just to kind of keep a good visual, make a nice watch list with some of these bigger movements that I'm looking for. Okay, so having said all that, yippee skippy, let's get going. Here's what we have going on right now. Last week, I was looking for the dollar to continue to correct. We've seen a pretty big dollar correction, and I was looking for that to continue and to keep happening. And then it kind of really slowed down, and the dollar correction kind of ran out of steam, and it turned more into more dollar strength. And this is kind of what our dollar index chart looks like right here. This is our 1 hour chart. Well, actually, let's go back to the daily chart here. So the dollar index has just been running straight up, almost no pullback, and then we had a pretty decent pullback that started right about you know, 2-ish weeks ago, all of last week, and then, you know, a little bit even before that, the dollar started to pull back and back and back. And we saw this high here on the dollar index at about 100.30-ish or so, and then it pulled all the way back here to about 96.20, and then, you know, kind of just has been bouncing around. And I'm just kind of curious as to what this dollar thinks it might be up to. And we're in a little bit of a holding pattern here. Here's our weekly chart. And this gives us even a little bit more information right here. Look at this weekly chart. This is a big, nice reversal pattern here. We have some parallel candles. There's a bullish candle and then a bearish candle of the same size, and it's just right back down there, hanging out at the lows of both of those candles there. And so it kind of puts the dollar in an interesting spot where it can do a little bit of either. If that reversal pattern holds up and we start to see more dollar correction, then that'll be fine, and we'll have some good trading opportunities from there. But if we start to head back up and break some of the highs on that chart, then we'll just be looking for this euro dollar to continue right back on down, and the pound dollar and so on. Now, one thing that I love to look at is, here is the Friday low right here. This is euro dollar Friday low, and it's at 10800 essentially. It's about 108.01, but we're just going to call it 10800. This is our Friday low, and I think that's pretty good to watch. And of course, conversely, here is our Friday high, and I like watching both of these levels, and I think they're really, really great to keep an eye on. And I'm just watching this channel, and you can see that this channel is you know, about 150 pips or so. The euro started kind of having these big spikes. We've got this Friday high, Friday low, 150 pips, and we're obviously closer to the low. I'm going to be looking. I won't hesitate to short the euro if we break this Friday low. If we break below 10800, I'm just going to get back in short again and keep it pretty tight and look to ride this thing right back on down to however far it thinks it needs to go. Because remember, on the indicator's not telling us anything in particular, you know, that anything's super overextended one direction or another. The daily euro dollar chart in pips has not really, well, I don't know, it's got a decent amount, 2200 of 2800. It's still got a bit more that it could go. You know, so we could see double bottoms happening. We could see early inverse head and shoulders patterns happening. I mean, there's just a mixture of anything that could happen here. And so I'm just going to kind of watch and wait. I will potentially enter the euro dollar on a nice dip. If there's a nice dip way down here and it can make a good move into a double bottom, get back down into that 10500 area, I'll consider buying from there. Otherwise, I'm going to sell the break of our Friday low and ride this thing down, or I'm going to buy the break of the Friday high and see if we can get a nice move and get back into some of those weekly highs and start heading up through that 110.50 area. So I'm kind of watching 10800 and 109.50. I'm looking for, you know, for a move either direction at the break of these levels right here. And I think that we're going to have a nice little bit of activity once either of those levels break. Now, again, when this 10800, when and if this 10800 breaks, there should be a nice little move down there. I'm not saying I'm looking exactly for you know, several hundred pips, but we could get a nice little move. We've got this little run down into there, and if we just see something fairly similar, then, you know, that puts us down into 10700. You know, we might just have 100 pips. We might be able to extend that, you know, a bit more into the 105.50. It just kind of depends on what the market gives us, and it's gonna depend on how far we get, or how close we get actually to non-farm payroll on Friday, of how long we're going to let this ride. But for the moment, I'm watching 10800, 109.50. I'm going to probably and almost definitely stay out of anything in the middle of that, because that's probably going to be pretty good chop, and even above that 109.50 could probably be pretty decent chop as well. But I'm just kind of watching this area. We're going to see how this all plays out, see where it goes, see what happens, and then we'll be ready to trade the reaction there. One thing that I'm keeping a pretty close eye on, I think I must have deleted this, and we talked a little bit about this last week, but it still is very much all about some fib levels. And we've got fib levels on the euro dollar from this big move down right here. We've got a fib level at about 113, and I'm still looking for 113 as a potential target. But one thing that I really like on this euro dollar is, again, kind of the same thing we saw in that dollar index chart. Big run down, and a reversal candle the exact same size in the opposite direction of that previous candle. These are tweezers, train tracks, there's a whole bunch of different names for them, but this is a nice little reversal pattern, and this has been trying to kind of run up and make a move there. So we could see that early stage of euro dollar reversal-ness happening right now, and we want to be ready for that. So that could take us into that 109.50 break, and hopefully up into 110.50, and then ultimately into 113.00. So pretty nice little move there if we can get some breakouts and get some activity going. So be ready for that. Should be some good stuff coming. Pound dollar, I'm probably going to talk about like 12 pairs today, so I'll just try to get through everything kind of quick so we don't run on for hours and hours. The pound dollar is kind of just running and moving and wiggling around into a nice falling wedge. This is a great reversal pattern, probably one of my favorite reversal patterns out there. It's just narrowing its way down into this low, tight area, and I'm looking for this low to hold on pound dollar right now. We don't have any. We actually don't have as many good candlestick patterns itself on the pound dollar as we do on some of these other pairs, but it seems to be holding that low pretty well. And one thing that I'm liking is this Fibonacci level, way from this high all the way down to this low. The pound dollar has just kind of been testing and bouncing along those levels. And I'd love to see it make its way back up into that 38% fib, which is around 15600. So I'm going to be watching that, keeping an eye on that. And for the moment, really just looking for a break of this falling wedge. It's got some pips it can run. It could still run about 150 pips down before double bottoming or potentially breaking that low. I don't want to get stuck in the chop. Pound dollar has been very... All week last week was pure 100% unadulterated chop. And it just bounced around. And the week before, chop, 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 huge move up with the FOMC stuff, and then chop, 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 chop. And it still is right in the middle of this chop. So the one thing that we want to be very careful of, especially with these dollar pairs, is any of them that have just kind of been stuck in the choppy garbage. Euro has moved a little more steadily, but it's been pretty choppy as well. But the pound dollar has been like pure chop. So this could be the week that we get a big breakout on the pound dollar and start trading this thing up and getting some nice moves out of it. I'm still very anxious to get long above 150 at the break of 150. Just right at these highs right here. I would love to get long pound dollar and just trade it on up. And I will be totally ready for that when that happens. So a break of 150 to get us trading up into 150, 170 and 150, 300 is such an awesome setup and entry, and that's all coming up. So I'm really looking forward to that. So just to kind of recap real quick, euro dollar, I'm watching 10800 and 109.50. Pound dollar, I'm just kind of watching 150 at this moment, and I'm watching, to see if these lows hold. I don't think I want to short pound dollar yet, but I'm going to keep an eye on kind of how that plays out, and we'll see where that one goes. Aussie dollar has been very interesting. The Aussie dollar had this big breakout. We have this huge falling wedge right here. It had this huge breakout and then this huge retracement. We're not going to try to catch the falling knife or whatever they call it. We're going to let this Aussie dollar play out. If this low holds in here, then we're going to revisit this and look for some moves back on up, and we may even be looking for continued breakouts down. It's only 100 pips, it's less than 100 pips from that low, and the Aussie dollar could just continue to slide from here. So we'll see how that goes. But yes, the Aussie dollar can follow gold. The best thing to do, remember, this is such a great little trick here. If you want to kind of watch and see how something behaves, for example, you can go to, there we go. If you go to Trading View, I may have talked about this before, but there's Aussie dollar. Let's just pair it with XAU USD. So we'll just pair that puppy right with gold, and you can kind of see how the two move together, or not so together. They follow each other quite a bit, and you can see that in the last couple of months they've kind of been pulling apart a good little bit. So here's gold, and you can see that gold's holding much stronger than the Aussie dollar is on that movement there. And this is on a daily chart, so you can see how they're kind of pulling apart. But for the most part, they tend to follow each other very, very closely. You can see that month after month after month, we see very tight movement there, but then it's been pulling away. So look at that comparison chart on TradingView. It's super awesome. Just compare currency to currency, or or anything against anything really. So it does follow gold very, very closely, more than half the time, and then the other half the time, or less than half the time, it pulls apart a good little bit. So that's Aussie dollar. So we're just kind of sitting tight on that one, not doing anything too extreme yet, but we absolutely will be doing something extreme very soon. Speaking of extreme, here's another chart that I've posted recently for everyone to see, and this is dollar CAD. We have a huge double top in place on the dollar CAD, and we've had about 2.5 months of pure chop on the dollar CAD. Pure chop. It's been bouncing around in this channel that's pretty big, actually, about 400 pips. And dollar CAD is up and down and up and down, and it's making some big movements, but nothing seems to be super sustained. It dropped down hundreds of pips, and it spiked back up, 200 plus pips, and it's just kind of all over the place. I am pretty much totally looking to short the dollar CAD against the highs here, and our highs so far stand at about just a little bit above 12800, and here we are almost at 12700. And so we're just kind of watching this. Good, Donovan. Still in that dollar CAD. Okay, good. And hang on to that one, because I think this dollar CAD is going to be super great. I'm not ready to just throw a sell trade on just yet, but it's getting pretty darn close. You can see our indicators looking pretty good. Previous max pips, 1,314. We've already gone 1,400 and almost 50. This is a really, really good one. This is a really, really good one to keep an eye on. And this is a good time for the Canadian dollar to rally, because especially, Donovan, as you mentioned, watching oil, oil seems to really be kind of solidifying in the mid to high $40 range, and it probably is ready to start recovering as we go into summer. And oil just every year goes up going into summer, and during summer it goes up. So this should be a good time for the dollar CAD to recover and start heading back towards some Canadian strength. So our best, safest bet is to trade the break of the channel. If this breaks 128.50, let's just get long and see what the heck happens. But if it holds 12800/128.50, let's look to short it against this high. I love that trade, and I would love to trade it down to this 123.50 and through 123.50. I think we're going to see 120 on dollar CAD, or maybe 120-100, but I think we're going to get into the low 120s over the next couple of weeks on dollar CAD, and this is going to be a great opportunity. Remember, if you just go back to you can compare the Canadian dollar once again here with so if we look at dollar CAD and we compare it against some oil, for example, let's see, how about a little West Texas inventory? How's that sounding with everyone? Where are you? Well, darn it. Okay, never mind. I'm going to have to, we might have to go against something kind of boring. But anyway, you can do the same kind of thing with dollar CAD and just kind of compare it against oil. Here's my dollar CAD chart that I think is super awesome. But just compare. Just start comparing charts with other commodities, gold, oil, and compare other currency pairs against each other as well. But again, we have to be pretty careful on dollar CAD right here. We have to make sure that we don't do too much trading inside of this channel just yet. I'm okay trading against the high, and I might even be okay trading against the low if we get back down to that low again. But ideally, I'd like to just short against that high, trade it down to the low and through the lows of that 123.50, 60 area. And I swear we're going to get down into 120. We're going to see 120, 120, 100 on dollar CAD pretty darn soon, and we'll probably be able to get 300 or 400 or 500 pips out of that movement down. So let's be ready on dollar CAD for that. Euro CAD is also very interesting. I like Euro CAD. It's kind of wedging its way into this whole thing here. You can see that the Euro CAD, from kind of this most recent movement, has crossed the 23% fib and has kind of struggled at this high to get into that 38% fib, which isn't very far away. Current market price on EuroCAD to the 38% fib is like 85 pips, but there's probably going to be a pretty easy 85 pips to get up into that area. We've got the 200 moving average and a weekly pivot kind of blocking our way a little bit, but I'm watching this high. I'm watching this 137.60 area. If we break above that, you know, we're going to start trading to fib levels from there. So just watch that little multi-week high right there and be ready to trade some of that. Now, if we see some failure there, I'm going to be exploring some opportunities to short this pair as well. But at this moment, it's kind of pretty. It's pretty, and I guess we could even, you know, put this on the charts to make it look a little more official. But it's pretty bull flag looking currently, and so a break of that high should hopefully take us somewhere along the lines of. Remember, we're always just going to measure the flagpole, and then if we project it out from that low point of the flag, which is right about there, then that puts us all the way up almost to the 50% fib. And if we just got in at the break of this high, that would be, you know, 150 pip movement. And so I think this is going to be a nice little opportunity for EuroCAD if we start to see some nice movement there. So the break of that multi-week high is going to be very, very interesting for this pair and kind of for the whole bullish flag setup of the whole thing. Yeah, and that's a good point, Tom. That's a good point. Yeah, the U.S.-Iran nuclear agreement. Nuclear agreements are always interesting, especially with people that hate us. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. And you're right. If that brings more, there have been, you know, one thing that we have to watch is price action, right? And just kind of what happens. And we've seen that oil has kind of tried to spike, and it just kind of keeps coming back down. So maybe, you know, maybe this is oil's consolidation for a move lower. We just kind of have to watch and see how that goes. But it's very possible that that's the case. Okay, quick little look at Aussie New Zealand. This trade has just continued right on down. Looks like it's headed right into parity. We're going to keep an eye on this. This is going to get choppy as it gets down to that 1-to-1 area, down to that parity mark. For sure, it's going to get choppy down there. So we've got some good trade ideas, mostly for existing current trades that we have right now with group members. But I'm going to have some charts coming up on this Aussie New Zealand this coming week, and it should be an interesting little one. It has been definitely crazy. It's totally been crazy. Oh, let's see. We got a couple of comments. Linda, what about the announcement on Austin Business Confidence? Yeah, that one is not a huge mover typically, Linda. That's a good question. That's not really a big mover for this pair. So it could be, but it typically isn't much of a huge mover there. And Bo, yes, we could very potentially buy it at the 1-to-1 mark at parity. So yeah, Aussie New Zealand's got some good potential there for sure. Okay, so the peso is not super close to something I want to do just yet. New Zealand dollar is pretty close to something I'm looking at. We've talked about this one a little bit, and it really is staying pretty interesting. This huge move down that we've seen, went down, big move down, consolidated, went totally sideways for like 3 or 4 months, and then it broke down. It's consolidated again for another couple of months, and so hopefully this is starting to find a little bit of a bottom, especially if we're looking for some correction on the U.S. dollar. Huge double bottom here, still in place, and it has come right up to that 23% fib on the weekly chart. It hasn't closed above it yet. Huge price rejection right there, but it made a good stab at that. So I'm kind of watching this and looking to see if some of these areas can hold 7,500, 7,450 even. I'm not in it yet, but I'm watching kind of this area to see if this weekly pivot's going to get taken out. Some of that stuff's going to hold, and we're going to be able to make a run back up into that 38% fib, which is around 7,800. So if we start to see U.S. dollar weakness playing out again this week, the New Zealand dollar is going to be pretty good on the list of pairs to be watching and trading up towards some nice targets. And that 38% fib looks super awesome. And the indicator looks very, very good as well. We've made a nice little run away from everything. So I'm pretty interested in buying dips on the New Zealand dollar this week for sure. Okay, almost last but not least, The pound Swiss franc has been one that we've looked at and we've liked. It's been doing pretty well. The pound Swiss franc is totally just consolidated and choppy. The 1 hour chart looks pretty good. I'm still interested in getting in and potentially buying some dips on this pair, but it's getting choppy and we got to be careful. If it does break this low, this 141.85 area, I'll short the heck out of this thing and just trade it on down lower and see if we can start getting a bigger move down and get some just totally wacky, totally nuts price action going on here. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Watch for a break of the low. We're going to watch for dips as well and any kind of indication that we can buy this thing and trade it on up into some of these levels. So looking to buy dips on pound Swiss franc this week if that's possible. Here is one that we watched this week and it missed our pending order by literally a handful of pips. We were looking to kind of buy the pullback on pound New Zealand, and it ended up running up and making a nice little move into the exact target that we were looking for anyway, but it missed our entry by about 10 pips and ran up very nicely. So pound New Zealand looks good, and I'm still keeping a good eye on this one, and I still do want to buy some dips here. And so that one should be good. And yes, Adrian, yeah, absolutely. Pound Swiss franc's going to be a good. I'm pretty interested in pound pairs this week. I think pound Swiss franc, pound New Zealand, and pound dollar are going to be pretty good ones to trade. Pound Aussie, I don't really like the pound Aussie at all, but it is moving pretty dang good. And you can see that it's just staying in this channel like perfectly. And bouncing off those lows and just running higher and just all this stuff. So pound Aussie is interesting, and I think we're going to have some pretty decent opportunities with this one as well. So I'm probably going to trade the heck out of pound pairs this week. So just be ready for that. And we'll have some good opportunities there. And last but not least, we're in kind of the upper area of consolidation on dollar yen. And so I'm going to be watching this one pretty closely. Again, if dollar correction starts to get a little bit of hold, then we're going to be shorting against these highs, but we're also going to be waiting for breaks of those highs, and we'll see where it goes. Dollar yen is very much not overbought and has a little bit more to go. So dollar yen will be good there. We've just got a ton of setups kind of everywhere. So I'm looking forward to all of those. We have lots and lots of trading opportunities this week, so we're going to be here all weekend long, or all week long into the weekend, and hopefully just trading those movements like madness, and we'll see how that goes. So that's what I'm looking for. Let's get this video posted. I'm going to answer any questions you guys want to talk about, any pairs that I forgot to mention, and as I mentioned in the very beginning, if anybody wants to stick around for a couple of minutes and jump in my new chat and just tell me what you think, literally it'll take 2 or 3 minutes, that would be much appreciated. So let's do that, and thanks again for attending, guys. I'll get this posted and I'll send that chat link out right now.